So, you've met this girl who, on the surface, seems perfect. She's sweet, fun to be around, and the chemistry is off the charts. But then, things begin to change. You notice that one day, she's all over you, clingy, affectionate, and won't let you out of her sight. Then, the next day, she's emotionally distant or worse, throwing a tantrum for seemingly no reason at all. If this sounds familiar, then here's what you need to know. The fact is, you're dealing with a girl who has unresolved daddy issues. And let me tell you, it's a roller coaster ride that'll leave you emotionally drained if you don't know how to handle it. Most guys make the mistake of trying to fix these women by giving them more affection or trying to meet all their emotional needs. But, as you'll see, that's not how it works at all. In fact, the more you try to fill that emotional void, the deeper the hole becomes. It's true. Imagine pouring water into a bucket with a hole in the bottom, hoping it'll stay full. But it won't. You're smart, and you know you need a fresh approach. So, let me tell you this. There's a way to regain control, steer the ship, and put an end to this emotional chaos. It's a technique that taps into deep psychological principles, and we call it the ERP Routine. It's a key strategy you will learn in Shogun Method. You'll also find out more about a cool, free resource at the end of the video, so keep watching. Trust me on this. First things first. Before we get into how the ERP routine works, we need to understand what you're really up against when dealing with a girl with daddy issues. Why is she acting like this? Why the mood swings, the neediness, the fucking drama? And what was her problem with daddy that screwed her up so spectacularly? Here's the thing. These behaviors aren't random at all. They stem from deep-rooted issues that come from her relationship with her father. You see, you're not just dating a girl. You're dealing with years of emotional baggage that no amount of patience, kindness, or attention is going to fix. And the worst part of all this shit is this. She doesn't even realize her mental issues herself. Most girls with daddy issues are caught in a loop. You can sum their dysfunction in one sentence. They seek validation and approval from men, especially older men, to fill the gap left by their fathers. A girl with daddy issues will always crave attention, but here's the kicker. No matter how much you give her, it's never fucking enough. So how do you spot these behaviors before you get caught in their web? Here are 7 warning signals you're dealing with a girl with daddy issues. So, if you see one, you'll know when to deploy the ERP routine and other Shogun Method techniques to bring her to heel. The first sign is the age gap magnet. Is she consistently drawn to men who are older than her by 5 years or more? Trust me, it's not just a simple preference in men. It's a fucking red flag that she's unconsciously seeking a father figure to fill that emotional gap. Sure, it might feel flattering at first, but soon you'll notice how she expects you to provide the love, attention, and emotional support from her father. Then there's Velcro attachment syndrome, or the VAS as we call it in Shogun Method. When she has the VS, she clings to you like Velcro. She'll be constantly texting, needing your attention every minute of the day. You're chuffed, but believe me, this isn't love. It's extreme neediness, born from emotional insecurity and hunger for attention. A girl with VAS will try to fill that void with you, but the more attention you give her, the more she needs from you. Next up is the third sign, the spotlight seeker. Flirting with other guys in front of you is the surefire sign of one. Girls with daddy issues tend to crave validation from multiple sources, not just from her boyfriend or husband. Even when she's with you, she'll still seek attention from other men because, deep down, she's never satisfied. Then there's the aggressive slut warning sign. Is she unusually forward or aggressive when fucking you? At first, this might seem exciting, but it's actually a manifestation of her emotional and psychological issues. She equates sex with love, thinking that if she's physically desired, she's emotionally secure. It's a dangerous cycle of mistaking lust for real love. Or perhaps she's showing signs of pain equals love. This is linked to the fire starter sign. Does she have a sadistic preference for rough or intense physical interaction? Or maybe even rape fantasies? This can often be an indicator of trauma, where she associates pain with affection. Again, it's a way to fill that emotional void through intense experiences. It's not real love, but a craving for validation through extreme measures. Fucking bad news if you ask me. The sixth sign is what we Shoguns call the mirror obsession. Is she obsessed with how her body looks? Is she constantly dieting, changing her appearance, or chasing unrealistic beauty standards. This isn't just vanity you're seeing, it's a sign of narcissism. No matter how much you compliment her, she's chasing validation that can only come from within, but she's looking for it externally. And she's looking for it from you and other men. The final and seventh sign is the worst of all, the entitled diva. Does she expect to be treated like a princess without lifting a finger? Often, girls with daddy issues expect their partners to provide the same unearned validation. She'll expect you to cater to her every whim, but when reality doesn't meet her fantasy, she'll lash out. If you recognize any of these signs, don't worry. You're not alone in this. But here's the thing you must understand. You can't fix her dysfunction by giving in to her insane demands of attention and validation. Never, ever give in, because that only reinforces her crazy behavior. Instead, you need to flip the script, and that's where the ERP routine comes in. ERP stands for Entice, Repel, and Prophesy. It's a psychological sequence designed to bring stability and control to an emotionally turbulent relationship. And here's how it works. The first step in this three-step routine is Entice. You draw her in by giving her just enough attention to make her feel emotionally connected. I got to warn you though, this is where most guys go wrong. They either give too little, making her feel neglected, or they give too much, reinforcing her neediness. So, the trick is to hit the sweet spot. Remember that her biggest problem for a girl with daddy issues is her extreme need for validation. When you give her just the right amount of attention, you satisfy that need for validation without overloading her emotional system. You're showing her you value her, but you're doing it in a controlled, deliberate way. And that's masculine and attractive in the eyes of a woman, whether or not she has daddy issues. Let me give you an example. Let's say for once she's acting calm and collected instead of being her crazy, bitchy self. Compliment her by saying to her, "You're so relaxed today. I love seeing this side of you." You're validating her good behavior, enticing her emotionally, but you're keeping control of the situation. You've sparked her need for validation without letting it consume you. Now, you've triggered her validation instincts, and like a hungry shark, she smells blood in the water. This is when you move on to the second step in the ERP routine, or the repel step. Here, create distance by subtly rejecting her shitty behavior without confronting her directly. This throws her off balance and breaks the emotional patterns she's used to control you. Why does repel work? It's simple. You'll learn everything in Shogun Method, but here's the explanation in brief. When you pull back, you trigger in her mind something psychologists call as intermittent reinforcement. Psychologically, this is one of the most powerful tools for influencing female behavior. When she's not sure when or how you'll give her attention, she is motivated to earn it. This keeps her on her toes, craving your validation, and forces her to act in a way to match your standards. Now, once you've done the entice step, she'll try to get more validation by acting needier than usual. Most guys would either give in to the drama or get into an argument. Instead, you'll pull back and disengage. You say, "I'm not in the mood for this right now," and walk away. Or even better, say nothing. There's no drama and no fight. Only dead radio silence and distance. Remember, to a girl with daddy issues, all attention is good attention, even if it involves fights and arguments. By repelling her by disengagement, you're reinforcing the idea that her bad behavior won't get the response she desires. This leaves her craving the attention she had before, but now it's on your terms. You're now in control, and that's a good thing. And when you've done multiple rounds of entice and repel, you hit her with the P in the ERP routine, or prophesy. This is where you predict the consequences of her shitty behavior. You plant seeds of doubt that will make her think twice before acting like a bitch again. As you'll learn in Shogun Method, what women fear the most is rejection. The shame of getting dumped by a guy is completely unbearable to a girl. In her psyche, rejection from the masculine is the death of the feminine. And this fear is even more extreme to girls with daddy issues because they often have abandonment anxiety. They fear being left behind because deep down, they've experienced it before. When you prophesize, you're subtly telling her that her current behavior will lead to something she dreads. Her extreme fear of getting discarded like dirt will translate to obedience, submission, and respect for your authority. For example, if she throws a tantrum, you calmly say, "Go ahead, but one day you'll realize that I will no longer give a fuck." And we're getting closer to that day, believe me. You're not threatening her directly. You're planting a thought in her head that will linger long after the conversation is over. That fear of getting abandoned will quietly drive her to change her behavior. This cycle of enticing, repelling, and prophesying disrupts her emotional loops and forces her to seek your approval. Imagine no longer at the mercy of her behavior. How will that feel? Now, here's the beauty of the Shogun Method ERP routine. Once you've mastered it, you'll notice how her emotional turbulence smooths out. The tantrums, the drama, the neediness, all fade as she realizes she can't control you. Here's what I must warn you. Never, ever overplay your hand. Like everything else in Shogun Method, if you overdo the ERP routine, you'll screw up her psyche, prim and proper. And that's a whole new set of problems. So, use this knowledge wisely. The goal here is to create balance and exert some authority over the relationship, not turn her into a burden you must carry for life. You're aiming to be her emotional anchor, not her father, and definitely not her fucking babysitter. Okay, let's wrap things up. Here's what we've covered. First, we identified the 7 red flags of daddy issues. From her fixation on older men to her desperate need for validation, these signs can save you from a whole heap of emotional chaos if you know how to read them. Second, I broke down the Shogun Method ERP routine for you. ERP stands for the 3 steps in the routine: Entice, Repel, and Prophesy. You learned how to wield these 3 steps to create a cycle of control that puts you behind the wheel. We explored why Entice exploits her need for validation, why Repel keeps her on edge, and how Prophesy taps into her abandonment fears. By mastering the ERP routine, you can disrupt those toxic emotional patterns she's so used to and turn the tables on her. Like everything in Shogun Method, once you've executed the routine properly, she'll be as obedient and submissive like a chihuahua. Now, if you're ready to dig deeper, you should know we've only scratched the surface. The ERP routine is just the beginning of your journey into the wonderful world of female emotional enslavement and control. By diving deeper into Shogun Method, you can refine your skills and become a master of female psychology. You'll gain an arsenal of mind control weaponry that will amplify your mastery of influence and control. Fractionation is one such weapon. As an intense mind control technique, it creates a cycle of emotional highs and lows, which can lead to a profound sense of attachment. By skillfully alternating between intense emotional experiences and calm, stable moments, you can keep her engaged and craving more of your presence. This creates a sense of dependency and makes her more likely to seek your approval. The Entice and Repel cycle you've seen earlier is an example of fractionation in action. Next, consider emotional anchoring. This technique allows you to associate specific feelings or states with your presence. By creating moments that evoke positive emotions when she's around you, like laughter, excitement, or comfort, you can become the source of those feelings. When she thinks of you, she'll automatically recall those emotions, making her pine for you, and when she doesn't see you, she'll miss you terribly. Another awesome Shogun Method strategy is by wielding the power of unpredictability. Keeping her guessing about your next move creates intrigue. By being less predictable in your interactions, you can heighten her curiosity and interest. This unpredictability can foster a sense of excitement in the relationship, making her more eager to chase after you. I'll show you how to do this inside the core Shogun Method program. Emotional validation is also a critical female psychology aspect to understand. Knowing when to validate her feelings, while still maintaining your emotional distance, is key to your ability to control her. By acknowledging her emotions without getting sucked into her drama, you show emotional strength as her leader. This reinforces her desire to seek your validation, as she'll want more of your attention. This is crucial when you deal with a girl with daddy issues. Now, here's the kicker. The more you learn about these mind control techniques and how they interplay, the more confident and powerful you'll feel when dealing with women. You'll be able to navigate the emotional chaos of relationships with ease. Remember, Shogun Method is not about simply getting a woman to want to sleep with you. It's about understanding the underlying psychological triggers that drive a woman's behavior. So, if you want to explore these techniques in depth and understand how to apply them in your life, here's what to do. Join the Shogun Method online masterclass and plunge into the world of advanced mind control techniques. You'll love it, trust me. Unlock the secrets of Shogun Method and discover how to take charge of your relationships, ensuring that you're the one in control. Go to fractionation.org or click the link in the video description to reserve your spot and embark on this transformative journey. Your path to mastering emotional influence and creating lasting connections starts now. Seize it and become the man who masters his sexual relationships with ease and confidence. Get back in control. Join the Shogun Method online masterclass now, online.